Hello and welcome everyone to Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishments. We're back with the next case, the Abbey Grange Affair. Very curious to find out what this is about. Let's jump in.
The game is afoot, not a word. Into your clothes and come. I'll wait for you in the sitting room. I've just received a note from Inspector Lestrade, a letter from the suburbs. He is in need of my presence. Whenever he has asked for my assistance, it has always turned out to be entirely justified. I fancy that every one of his cases has found its way into your collection.
Yes, they all seem worthy of...
However, I regret your fatal habit of looking at everything from the point of view of a story instead of a scientific exercise.
Oh, Holmes, you...
I beg your pardon, I digress. It would be much better to examine this letter than to try to convince you.
Okay.
I agree with you, Toby, that Watson's shoe is preferable to Mrs. Hudson's cold cuts.
The lady is still there. Okay. Let's see if we got some letters. Colossal scandal in high society. The well-known and remarkable archaeologist, the pride of our nation, Sir Rodney Bencliffe, has been found murdered. The crime took place at the Roman Bath in Strand Lane. The location of the archaeologist's most recent research, but what is most truly shocking is that the murder of Sir Rodney was at the hand of his former friend and partner, Percival Blinkhorn. The death sentence is the only possible punishment for this breed of villain. We got the silver knife as a souvenir. See?
The letter is on the table, Holmes. You should take a look.
Okay.
The letter is on the table, Holmes. You should take a look.
Well, let's have a look. Where is it, though? Which table? Table.
I can tell from Lestrade's handwriting that he was in a hurry when he wrote this letter. The Brackenstall family coat of arms.
Brackenstall, okay.
A wax seal with the monogram E.B.
Abbey Grange. My dear Holmes, I should be very glad of your immediate assistance in what promises to be a most remarkable case. It is something quite in your line. Except for releasing the lady, I will see that everything is kept exactly as I have found it. But I beg you not to lose an instant, as it is difficult to leave Sir Eustace there. Yours faithfully, Inspector Lestrade.
So, what is it, Holmes?
Promising, as always, it appears to be a case of murder.
So you believe that Sir Eustace is dead?
I should say so. Lestrade wouldn't have sent for me for less. His writing shows considerable agitation, and he is not an emotional man. These people belong to high society. The quality of the writing paper, the E.B. monogram, their coat of arms. The crime was committed before midnight.
Holmes, how can you possibly tell?
Well, it is all thanks to Lestrade. He wrote his letter at 3:30 in the morning. Imagine the chain of events before that. The local police had to be called in. Scotland Yard was notified. Lestrade himself had to make haste there, and finally compose the letter he sent to me. All of that makes for a fair night's work.
It makes sense. Lestrade also speaks of the woman he released.
That seems to indicate that she had been held somewhere during the crime. Much time has been wasted. Let us find a cab and go to Abbey Grange immediately.
Immediately.
I live in hope of an interesting morning.
Let's go, Abbey Grange.
Ah, Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson, here you are. I'm very glad that you have come, but perhaps I should not have troubled you after all.
And why is that?
Lady Brackenstall has come to her senses, and she has given so clear an account of the affair that there is not much left for us to do. You remember that Lewisham gang of burglars?
What, the three Randalls?
Exactly. The father and two sons. It's their work. They stole a silver service, which is of great value.
Sir Eustace Brackenstall is dead, then?
Yes. His head was knocked in with his own poker.
A violent act of aggression.
Yes, the poor lady. She has had a most dreadful experience. She was assaulted and tied to a chair. But I think that you would best see her and hear her account of the facts. She's in the morning room with her maid, Teresa Wright.
Where is the body of the deceased?
In the dining room. We haven't touched anything.
All right, I'm going to examine it.
Very good, Watson.
Okay, off to work. Here we go again. Anything
Lady
else?
Brackenstall awaits you in the morning room.
Okay. This does look like a very fancy.
Lord George Brackenstall. Ladies, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm assisting Inspector Lestrade in this investigation.
Mr. Holmes, I am the wife of Sir Eustace Brackenstall. We were married only a year ago.
I am sorry for your loss. Please accept my deepest condolences.
I suppose that it is no use my attempting to conceal that our marriage has not been a happy one. I fear that all would tell you that, even if I were to attempt to deny it.
Okay. Fresh bruises. Pale cheeks. Kangaroo and emu. Oh, the Australian, mate. Wedding ring. And old bruises. So maybe he was abused by her husband?
Can you describe to me the events of yesterday evening?
Is it really necessary? I have already told Inspector Lestrade all that happened.
Yes, madam, it is.
I will tell you then. Sir Eustace retired about 10:30. I sat in this room until after 11, absorbed in a book. Before I went upstairs, I entered the dining room to fetch a candle and... oh God.
Please, go on.
As I approached the French window, I found myself face to face with an elderly, broad-shouldered man who had just stepped into the room. Close behind the first man, I saw two others. One of them struck me a savage blow with his fist and felled me unconscious to the ground.
And then?
When I came to myself, I found that they had secured me tightly to a dining room chair. It was at that instant my unfortunate husband entered the room.
He fought with the intruders?
Yes, I think he had heard them, for he was holding his stick. But they were three, and he eventually succumbed. One of them, the elder one, struck him a terrible blow with the poker. I fainted once more. When I opened my eyes, they had withdrawn. Then my brave Teresa came to my assistance.
Okay.
Did these three villains steal anything?
Yes, I found that they had taken the silver from the sideboard, but you can see for yourself in the dining room.
Okay, so something was stolen.
You mentioned that your marriage was not a happy one. Was there anything specific that was troubling you?
He was not a nice man when he was drunk, and he suffered from dark moods, but nothing else.
Yeah, but what about the old bruises?
The bruises on your hands are at least 1 week old. Your husband caused those bruises?
Oh, do you... Yes, he did. He was very angry at the time. Out of control. Again. Sir Eustace was a drunkard. To be tied to such a man for life is worse than death.
your ladyship?
She definitely had a
Oh, what a horrible thing to have happened.
motive, it seems.
Teresa, I would like to hear
Doesn't
your
necessarily
testimony.
have to be her, obviously, but
Certainly, sir.
there might be a motive. Let's talk to Teresa. Ringtolls. Coffee stain. Handkerchief. Vinegar. Okay. In working hands.
As I sat by my bedroom window, I saw 3 men in the moonlight down by the lodge gate. But I thought nothing of it at the time. Oh, if I'd known.
And then?
I went to bed, and it was more than an hour after that I heard my mistress scream. And down I ran, to find her tied to the chair and him on the floor with his head smashed. That's all I know.
She didn't hear anything beforehand. That is interesting. Wanna over... Oh, there, yeah.
A
I
trapper's
wanna
hut.
over-analyze things, but still.
These scratches are most definitely made by the picture frame.
Aha!
This is Sir Eustace's safe. There may be something important inside. I must ask Lady Brackenstall to open it.
We have here.
This photograph of Lady Brackenstall and her maid Teresa was taken at a port, but which one?
Made it out. Adelaide.
So
Okay.
the lady and her maid came from Australia a year and a half ago on this ship.
Okay. What do we have here? Family business booming. The Randall gang is back on the street. Less than a fortnight ago, this infamous family of burglars, the Randalls as they are known, made their reappearance by way of a brutal but successful intrusion into one of the wealthier homes in Sydenham. The police are already on their trail, however, the details of the crime are being kept confidential, including that of the name of the victim. A witness was able to provide a precise description of all 3 men, and this will surely give the police a chance to complete their profile on this family of delinquents. We'll take the liberty of reminding our esteemed readers about this highly dangerous band and to provide the full description as it is available at this moment. The gang has been in business for some considerable time, being a family of 3, a father and his 2 sons. The elder, Jack Randall, is a man in his 40s and already grey-haired, while of average height and build. Being the mastermind behind the burglaries, he retains control over his sons, both of whom are close in age but very different in appearance. The first son, William Randall, is tall and broad-shouldered, with a small, disproportionate head. The younger brother, Melvin Randall, is of somewhat weaker constitution and is as skinny as a rake. The gang is wanted not only for their frequent thefts and break-ins, but for the exceptional brutal pirate career they enjoyed before returning to England. Be alert and may your valuables stay safe. Now that's interesting that we have a news article right here on the counter, which seems very convenient for them to have that at the ready. Could be that we're talking about the Randall gang doing the break-in.
The
I am
description
very
of the
skeptical
Randall
right
gang
now.
provided by Lady Brackenstall is identical to the one in the Times article.
Yeah. So it could definitely be them. But could also very well be that they made that up, which then the question is, why did they make it up? Are they directly involved, or are they just trying to protect someone else? Royalty was faked and the whole story invented in order to blame Soyuz's death on the Ramblers. For now, I go with that. Miss Brackenstall.
Lady Brackenstall, could you open this wall safe?
No, it is my husband's safe. I do not know the combination.
We have to open it. Your ladyship?
I'll figure it out. Don't you worry
My
about
mistress is very tired. Can't you allow her to her room?
it. Well, let's see what...
Lord Brigham Brackenstall. Sir Warthen Brackenstall.
Let's see what Watson has to say. Let's examine the body.
Lord Ramsay Brackenstall. Baron Lyndon Brackenstall. The Brackenstall family seems rather austere.
You should examine the body of Sir Eustace Brackenstall.
We certainly should. I'll look around though. Oh, that leads outside, okay.
A hunter's cabin.
Everything seems to be
A
into
hunting
hunting.
scene. So, Watson, what have you learned from examining Sir Eustace's body?
Well, I can confirm that the death was instant. Sir Eustace was facing his attacker when he received the blow to his head. There are no other apparent injuries.
Okay.
It appears that the bell rope was cut by someone taller than me.
Okay. So someone pretty tall, actually.
You should examine the body of Sir Eustace Brackenstall.
I will.
A fur trader's cabin.
Really into hunting.
The head was cracked with the force of the blow. That must be the murder weapon.
Okay. The weapon is the poker.
It is covered in blood. Sir Eustace might have struck his head upon it while falling from the blow. That is one possible explanation.
No shoes.
Barefoot. He had therefore been in bed and did not have time to fully dress. Quite a large stick, a formidable weapon.
And he does not seem to be in bad shape. So, and if he would face his attacker, like, they must... Not easy to overwhelm him, I would assume. Place. We have here deadly accident. The death of Sir Eustace could have been due to his accidental striking his head on a fireplace grate. Ooh. Ooh, interesting. Could be. Let's go with a poker blow for now. But we'll keep that in mind.
A decanter standing next to the open bottle, an inseparable pair indeed. Chateau Calon Ségur, French wine, Grand Cru. This glass has some wine traces, but no visible beeswing. There is beeswing at the bottom, as if the wine had not been decanted before being poured.
Interesting.
This glass has some wine traces, but no visible beeswing.
Okay, so 2 times
It is rather
beeswing.
strange that
Yeah.
only one of these glasses has dregs of beeswing inside it, while the other 2 are clear.
That is interesting. Let's see.
Sailor's knots. That's interesting. This rope was handled by the murderers. We need a scent hound to follow their trail. I will take it with me.
I know a sandhound. I think we need good old Toby. That is interesting though. So it's a sailor's knot. Three people. There were 3 people drinking wine out of the glasses. I would say 2 people. So if we're assuming that the whole gang thing is a ruse, we may have 2 people drinking wine, and then the third one was poured hastily without decantering it, in order to make it look like there were 3 people. So I say 3 people. 2 people.
This is the chair that Lady Brackenstall was tied to. A fur trader's cabin. A deer hunt. The hunting scene.
Up here. That's the sideboard where the silverware was
These wine
stolen
bottles are
from.
expensive and mostly from France. This candlestick is valuable. It is interesting that it was not also stolen.
Yeah. It is quite heavy, probably, so that could be an explanation.
An empty silverware box. It appears that the intruders have stolen the contents.
Anything else missing? Stick. Tools. That's the empty.
A bottle of wine is missing here.
No.
The criminals did not thoroughly ransack the house. They only took a little silverware.
That is peculiar. If it was really...
Antique hunting weapons. This door leads to the upstairs bedrooms. Apparently the criminals did not venture there.
The death was instant.
Instant death. Anything else to talk to them?
I've searched outside for footprints.
I have no footprints. That is also weird.
There are 3 glasses on the dining room table. I was wondering if...
Oh, I forgot. When I came to myself the first time, each of them had a glass in his hand. They might have been a father and his 2 sons. They talked together in whispers, and then they left.
Okay, so
Your
this is a bit
Please
bullshit.
leave my Mary alone.
The
She
whole
suffers
Ramsey story.
so much.
Let us try to open this safe.
And I open
This safe can be cracked. I only have to pay attention. The dial will vibrate when it is set to the correct number.
Okay, let's crack it. I don't get anything. Oh, that's the dial. Thought my controller would vibrate, but those red lines. Cracked it. Let's look
It
around.
is common practice to keep one's valuables in a safe behind a painting. It should not really pose a challenge for a criminal.
That's true.
Antique coins, possibly of value, but they're scattered without care.
Medical report. So Eustace, your current physical and mental state is of great concern. There are several signs of hepatic decompensation. The last time that we met, your eyes were bloodshot and your skin was tinged with yellow. There is a particular odor from your breath that is common in those suffering from liver damage. Then there are the lung abscesses that we have discussed. The leg cramps you have described to me are caused by an alteration to the nervous system, which in turn is caused by an excess of alcohol. That includes the tremors. Your liver seemed excessively hard at the time of the examination, which is a sign of an evolving cirrhosis. There are also signs of ascites, fluid in the peritoneal cavity, which are evident with your swollen stomach. The pain beneath your left rib indicates pancreatic malady, which may lead to fatal and fulminant pancreatitis. Your condition may pose a risk to others. Your excessive alcohol consumption lowers your self-control and heightens your aggression. I am available to help you with this problem. There are a number of treatment options. So he clearly was a very strong alcoholic. And suffered from multiple health.
Oh, what a horrible thing to have.
Sir Eustace's doctor speaks of his violent behaviour.
Yes, Sir Eustace was an extremely violent man. A detestable human being, to be more precise. It is true that he once threw a decanter at me, and all because I dared to stand up to him in defence of my mistress. Sly devil. God forgive me that I should speak of him so now that he's dead, but a devil he was, if ever one walked the earth. We met him only 18 months ago. She'd only just arrived in London. Yes, it was her first voyage. She'd never been from home before. Wonder with his title and his money and his false London ways. If she made a mistake, she has paid for it, if ever a woman did. She doesn't have any friends here, so it was specially hard for her.
Okay. Personal life. Lady Brackenstall married Sir Eustace shortly after arriving in England and remained at home during that time. There is little possibility that she or her maid are acquainted with anyone in the country. Acquainted with a sailor. The plot thickens. At least a little bit. Okay, before we leave, you have to leave to get back to Baker Street. Probably should get Toby. I want to look around the garden. The Strat said there are no footprints, which is strange. Again. But not strange if it was not the gang, necessarily. Currently, I'm thinking, maybe what if Lady Brackenstall was meeting up with this young, sexy sailor. I'm going to have some young, sexy sailor conversation. And the young, sexy sailor saw her being bruised up. Maybe that happened during the night, but maybe it was just her getting hit recently by Eustace. So then Eustace came down, confronted the two, came to a fight, and either the sailor guy killed Eustace, or there was some kind of accident happened, and Sir Brackenstall hit his head on the thingy. Then the sailor and the maid, who seems to be kind of definitely on the side of Lady Brackenstall, came up with a plan, and they tied Lady Brackenstall to the chair. The sailor did with the sailor's knot. They hid the silverware somewhere or took it away, and then they read the story about the gang and came up with that story. That is my current thesis, but I guess we have to see where this goes. Can I get a medical report? Do I have to talk to Watson about it?
This house feels rather sinister. I can't say that I like it here.
I don't like it. Lestrade.
What do you know about Sir Eustace, Inspector? What was his reputation?
A charming man when sober, but an absolute demon when he was drunk. In such moments he was apparently capable of anything. Why, once he splashed fuel on Lady Brackenstall's dog and set it alight. Another day he threw a decanter of wine at Miss Wright's head.
The
Jesus.
alcohol seemed to madden him.
To the point that we were forced to intervene several times to avoid a scandal.
Okay, so setting a dog on fire is a little bit more than just having some drunken escapades. That's for sure. Domestic violence, yes. I think that much we can say for certain. Okay, I think we need to perform an analysis, and I think we need Toby. Let's go back to Baker Street. I feel like we're making good progress on this case already. Have a decent lead, some ideas. But this is a great time to take a break, and we will continue our investigation next time. Thank you all for watching today's episode of Sherlock Holmes, Crimes and Punishments. If you enjoyed the episode, please give the video a like, maybe consider subscribing to the channel, share the video with friends, family, and the people on the internet. If you want to go the extra mile in supporting the channel, go check out the Patreon link down below. That all helps me out a whole bunch and will bring you more content in the future. I will be back with more Sherlock Holmes, Crimes and Punishments tomorrow. Until then, have a great time.